Our series begins with our heroine, Shin, waking up from a nightmare about the accident she caused. Because of that accident, we learn that Shin has lost her memory. She now lives with her husband Ming, who tries everything he can to help her recover and return to normal. She leaves Ming sleeping and goes down to the kitchen to drink some water. As she turns her head, she suddenly sees a child in the house. Terrified, she runs quickly to wake her husband and tells him what she saw. When they both go downstairs, they find no child anywhere. All the doors and the balcony are locked. At that moment, Ming decides to take her to her psychiatrist. At the clinic, the doctor speaks to her calmly and tells her that he believes her. "You're not crazy or stupid," he says, "but it could just be hallucinations resulting from the trauma of the accident." He tells her to stay consistent with her medication and try to relax for the coming period. After the session, Ming comes to pick her up and take her home. Then he leaves for work. At his job, there's a conference, and he speaks lovingly about his wife, saying that he adores Shin, that their relationship is very good, and that he hopes her memory will come back as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Shin is at home, watching Ming's conference on TV. She falls asleep from exhaustion and later wakes up to the sound of the doorbell. Someone has sent her a bouquet of flowers. She assumes it's from her beloved husband, Ming, and waits excitedly for him to return so she can thank him. When he gets home, they sit together for dinner, and she thanks him for the beautiful flowers. He looks confused and tells her, "I didn't send any flowers. Maybe one of your friends did." After dinner, Shin decides to go to the bookstore near their house to get her favorite novel, since her old copy has become torn and worn out. At the bookstore, she meets a girl named Gia, who also wants the same book, but there's only one copy left. Shin generously tells Gia she can have it. They get along immediately, and Gia asks Shin to take a few photos of her in the beautiful surroundings. While taking pictures, Shin notices a flower inside Gia's phone case and comments on it. Gia laughs and says it's really pretty. After taking the photos, they say goodbye. The bookstore owner then tells Shin he'll bring a copy of the book from the storage room and asks her to come back the next day to pick it up. Shin feels happy that she did a good deed and found a nice person. Later, we see Gia walking home. Someone wearing a yellow jacket starts following her. She feels uneasy, sensing something wrong. She turns around to see who it is, but before she can react, the person attacks her, kills her instantly, not giving her any chance to fight back. At that moment, Shin is asleep at home. She suddenly wakes up from another nightmare. This time, she dreams of Gia dead in a forest, with someone in a yellow jacket watching her. Terrified, she goes downstairs for some air and water. There, she sees the yellow jacket inside the washing machine. Suddenly, blood starts pouring out from the machine. Shin screams in horror. Ming runs in to see what's happening, but when he looks, there's nothing there. No blood, no jacket. He tells her it's just her imagination again, nothing real. Shin tries to calm down and goes back to sleep. The next morning, Shin goes to the bookstore to get the novel, but the store owner isn't there. A young man working in the store tells her that the owner hasn't been around for years. Shocked, she insists she saw him yesterday. To convince her, the worker shows her the security camera footage, and indeed, everything looks completely different. There's no sign of the owner she saw, no sign of Gia. The people, the scenes, even the day's events, all are different. And in the video, Shin herself doesn't appear at all. Without thinking, she rushes to her psychiatrist again and tells him she isn't sick and that none of this is her imagination. It's all real, but no one believes her. The doctor tells her not to trust everything she sees right now, that her mind is still healing from the accident, and these are just mental projections. When she leaves the clinic, she once again sees the same child she saw in her house before. She tells herself it's probably not real again, but follows him anyway. Then a young man named Yuan appears, carrying the child, whose name is Chiao. Shin looks at them, startled, and says to Yuan, "You see him too? So you have the same illness as me? You can see this child?" Yuan looks at her strangely, thinking she's crazy. He explains that he's taking Chiao to the orphanage where he works. Shin follows them to be sure they are real. At the orphanage, Yuan tells her that Chiao doesn't like people, that he's antisocial and doesn't speak. To help, Yuan draws a picture showing Chiao that Shin wants to be his friend. The child finally agrees, and for the first time, seems happy to have a friend. He sits with Shin, resting his head on her lap, and falls asleep. When she gets up to leave, Yuan offers to escort her because the area isn't safe. She asks for his phone number, wanting to come again to visit Chiao. Yuan warns her not to get too attached. Many people come and promise to visit, but then they disappear. It hurts the kids. Don't do that if you won't keep coming. Shin promises she'll come back. As they're walking, someone starts following them, the same mysterious figure watching them. When Shin notices, Yuan says the man is after him, not her. He hurries to get her into a taxi safely, but after she leaves, the man attacks Yuan and beats him brutally. Yuan doesn't even fight back, as if he knows the man. The attacker's name is Rams. We'll later learn about the dark history between them. Meanwhile, Shin, feeling guilty for leaving Yuan alone, decides to go back. When she returns, she finds him lying unconscious on the ground. Rams gone. She takes Yuan home and treats his wounds. Once she's sure he's okay, she excuses herself and goes back home. When she arrives, Ming is waiting for her angrily. He asks where she's been all day. She says she went to the doctor because she felt unwell, then took a walk, but doesn't tell him the full truth. The next day, she prepares a plate of fruit for Ming and goes to bring it to him in his studio. She hesitates outside, unsure whether to knock. When he sees her, he gets furious and yells at her never to enter that room again. He takes the plate and shuts the door behind him. She stands there, confused and hurt, wondering why he's hiding something from her and what could possibly be inside that room. Later, Shin goes to visit Chiao again. This time, she sees him drawing a picture of Jia, dead in her bed. Shocked, Shin realizes the boy somehow knows exactly what she saw in her dream. She begins to suspect the child knows many things about her life, people, events, that no one else could know. She insists to Yuan that the child needs to see a doctor because something about him is not normal. Yuan finally agrees, and they take the child to her psychiatrist. But when she shows the doctor the drawing, Jia's picture, it's gone. It has disappeared from the page. Disturbed and confused, Shin leaves. On her way home, she runs into an old school friend named Shi, who asks about her after the accident. Later that night, Shin tells Ming about meeting Shi, but he reacts strangely, nervous and tense, as if hiding something. Afterward, he leaves the room and makes a mysterious phone call to someone unknown. The next day, Ming takes Shin to visit their former university professor. There, Shin meets the professor's wife, who used to be a student at the same university, 2 years younger than Shin and Ming. They all reminisce about old times together. When they return home, Shin talks about the yellow jacket again, the one she saw. Ming gets irritated and insists it's not real, that she's imagining it. We even went to the doctor, and he said you're fine, he reminds her. She stays silent, though clearly unconvinced. That night, she goes to bed, only to wake again from another nightmare. In it, she sees the professor's wife dead, lying on her bed. At the same moment, we see that in reality, the professor's wife is indeed trapped inside a strange glass chamber slowly filling with water. The next day, Shin insists to Ming that she wants to visit the professor's wife to make sure she's okay. Ming becomes nervous again and says, "Why would we go visit her again? We never went the first time." Shin freezes, confused. "What do you mean we didn't go?" "We were just there," she exclaims. "What's happening to me? I don't understand anything anymore. And you, dear viewer," she adds almost to herself, "you probably don't understand either." She tells him, "No, according to what you just said, that means I'm not crazy," and becomes even more determined to go. Ming finally agrees and says he'll arrange the visit. At that time, Shin begins to remember flashes of her past, memories of her and Ming in college, how their relationship started. the feelings they shared. After telling him what she remembered, Ming leaves the house, supposedly to see her psychiatrist. Dear viewer, it turns out he's actually conspiring with her doctor to give her the wrong medication, the kind that prevents her lost memories from ever coming back. He's there to talk about her again, telling the doctor that her memories seem to be returning. The doctor, confused and shocked, asks him, "Why are you doing this to her? Why don't you want her to remember? And do you really think that's love?" But Ming snaps back, saying, "That's none of your business. Just do what I told you to do," insisting that this is how he protects her because he loves her. The doctor looks at him in disbelief, wondering what kind of twisted love this man thinks he's showing. Then we return to our heroine, who arrives at the house of her university professor, the one she thought she visited before. But when she knocks, a strange man opens the door. He tells her that he's been living there for years and has no idea who the professor she's talking about even is. Confused and terrified, she walks away, not understanding what's happening to her anymore. Somehow, her steps lead her back to the orphanage, where she finds the little boy again. This time he's drawn a picture of the professor's wife, dead. Shin sits down with Yuan, shaking and falling apart, unable to understand what's happening. Then suddenly, Ming shows up. She's startled. How did he even know where she was? She asks him that exact question, desperate for an answer. He tells her that before the accident, she had asked him to put a tracker on her phone so he could always know where she went. She immediately gets angry and says there's no way she would have agreed to something like that, and she demands that he remove the tracker immediately. When they get home, tension fills the air. They can't stand each other anymore. At dinner, she refuses to eat, so he loses his temper, grabs the food, and forces it in front of her. The next day, while Ming is at work, a journalist comes to the house asking to interview Shin about the accident. During the conversation, the reporter reveals something shocking, that before the accident, Shin's marriage wasn't good at all, and she had actually filed for divorce. After the reporter leaves, Ming takes Shin to see her old university professor, just like he promised her earlier, so she could check on his wife. What he doesn't know is that Shin had already gone there once and found something strange. Now, the professor tells Ming that he's not even married, and the whole atmosphere between the two men feels odd, as if they share some dark history. Ming hints that the professor once had a relationship with a student and that it got him expelled from the university. Shin can't believe what she's hearing. She defends the professor and tells her husband to show some respect no matter what happened. The two argue fiercely. Later, when she meets her old friend Shishi again, she learns that Ming wasn't lying this time. The professor really wasn't a good person. He had proposed to one of his students, but the girl rejected him. Feeling guilty for the way she spoke to her husband earlier, Shin returns home and apologizes. Since Ming is a kind man on the surface, he forgives her. Later, we see Shin in another session with her psychiatrist. They discuss all the strange things she's been seeing lately. The doctor tells her that maybe these aren't hallucinations at all. Maybe they're memories from a past life. Shin, frustrated and exhausted, tells him that's ridiculous and that she's not in the mood for nonsense. When she gets home, she tells her husband how scared she is. Scared she'll keep seeing strange things forever. He comforts her gently, saying that the doctor suggested something that might help. He plans to take her to visit her family tomorrow. Maybe, he says, if you see them, your memories will come back. The next day, they drive to her family home, but Shin isn't happy about it. She's always had a complicated relationship with her mother, who was cold and harsh toward her, just because Shin wanted to become a ballet dancer. Her mother always tried to control her future. Even when Shin confessed that she loved Ming, her mother refused to accept it. She thought he wasn't of their social status. When Shin insisted on marrying him, her mother disowned her, saying, "Forget you ever had a mother." When Shin wakes from those painful memories, Ming tells her that she also had a younger sister. That surprises Shin. She had completely forgotten she ever had one. Memories start flashing back, moments with her sister, and when they arrive at her mother's house, things get tense again. Her mother doesn't even greet her warmly, treating her coldly and speaking harshly about her life choices. She even makes snide remarks about Ming, but she praises Shin's sister and her husband for listening to her advice and marrying the man she chose for her. Ming stays silent through all the insults, not wanting to upset Shin any further. Finally, the exhausting visit ends, and they leave. That night, Shin has another nightmare. This time, she sees her sister trapped inside the same water-filled glass box she once saw the professor's wife in. She tries to save her, but fails, and watches her sister die before her eyes. In that nightmare, she also sees Ming holding a miniature version of that same strange device. She wakes up terrified and starts to look at her husband differently. When she sees him beside her, she panics. She asks, "What did you do to my sister? Tell me." He looks at her coldly and says, "What sister? You're an only child. You don't have any siblings." Shin insists, reminding him that on the way to her mother's house, he mentioned her sister and even saw her himself. He denies everything again. "Your mother," he says, "isn't at home. She's in a care facility." Now she's truly terrified of him. Nothing makes sense anymore. She runs out of the house barefoot and rushes to Yuan at the orphanage. Seeing her in distress, Yuan realizes something is seriously wrong. He takes her to a friend's place to borrow some clothes since she's still wearing her night clothes. He doesn't know what's going on, but he senses her fear. Then she begs him to take her to her family's house. When they arrive, the house is empty. No one is there. No mother, no sister. The place is for sale and looks abandoned. She remembers what Ming said about her mother being in a care home and asks Yuan to take her there. At the care home, she finally sees her mother. Her mother is overjoyed, thinking Shin came to take her away from this place. She tells her daughter how happy she is that she finally left Ming, that it's the best thing she's ever done, and that she'd begged her many times to leave him, but she refused. Her mother also reveals something heartbreaking. Shin's aunt stole all her money and her house, leaving her in the care home. Shin asks about her sister, but her mother looks confused and says, "You don't have any sisters, my dear. You're my only child." Shin is devastated. Everyone around her keeps denying that she ever had a sister, even though she remembers seeing her just yesterday. She leaves the care home crying, completely broken and lost. Her mother, too, cries as Shin walks away, feeling abandoned all over again. Outside, Yuan comforts Shin and hugs her tightly, trying to calm her down. He knows she's living through something far beyond her control. He lets her stay at the orphanage that night until she decides what to do next. Meanwhile, Ming meets the same journalist again. This time, she's threatening him, telling him that if he doesn't leave Shin, she'll reveal everything that happened in the past. She warns him that if Shin finds out, he'll lose her forever. It turns out the journalist has been in love with Ming for a long time, always trying to get close to him, but he rejected her again this time. Before she leaves, she says coldly, "Don't be mad at me later." Back to Shin, she decides to return home to pack her things, thinking Ming won't be there because he's supposed to be at work. But he is there. He asks her what she's doing. She tells him she's packing her clothes and needs time alone to recover. But in his paranoid mind, he's convinced she's in love with Yuan, that she's planning to leave him for another man. He accuses her of betrayal, of wanting to go to Yuan. She tries to calm him down, saying he's imagining things, then continues packing. She leaves for the orphanage and tries to sleep there, but she can't. Late at night, she steps outside to get some air, and suddenly, Ramiz, the same man who attacked Yuan earlier, appears. He grabs her, covers her mouth, and whispers in her ear, "Stay away from Yuan. He's not the good man you think he is. He's a criminal, and he's fooling you." Then he lets go of her and disappears into the darkness, leaving Shin trembling, confused, and more terrified than ever. She didn't know who to believe or who to doubt, and she wished that all of this had just been a dream. The next morning, she sat with Yuan and asked him why he was working there when it was clear that he was a good person who deserved a much better job. She also asked him what his relationship with Ramez was, but he stayed silent, as if he didn't want to talk or explain anything. She got angry with him then and told him that she was leaving and would go live with her friend Chiao. When she arrived home, Yuan called her and asked if she was with her because the child was missing. At that moment, our heroine panicked for the child and ran to Yuan to tell him everything that happened with Ramez the day before. They both assumed that Ramez must have taken the child and planned to hurt him somehow, and indeed, Ramez and the child were together on the roof of a hospital. Ramez wanted to make the child fly because he thought the child was Yuan's son, and he wanted Yuan to feel what it was like to lose someone he loved, just as Yuan had killed Ramez's lover. Yes, dear viewer, you must be confused right now. Yes, you probably don't understand how someone like Yuan, this bright and calm man, could kill anyone, but you'll understand later. Yuan arrived and told Ramez not to involve the child, saying that if he wanted to take revenge, he could kill him instead. He was right there in front of him, but the child defended himself and bit Ramez's hand. Suddenly, the child was about to fall, but Yuan caught him just in time. After all that, the child was thankfully safe. Our heroine, however, decided not to ask Yuan any more questions about how or why he killed Ramez's lover, since it was clear he didn't want to talk about it. Later, we see her sitting with her friend Xu, telling her everything that had happened. She said she suspected that Ming was behind all of it, that he was the real reason for everything. She told Xi that the next day she would go to the apartment, enter the studio while he wasn't there, and maybe find something that would help her understand what was going on. The next day, she did go to the apartment, but to her shock, Ming was there, along with the doctor. They tried to take her to the hospital, claiming that she was sick. They told her that her friend, the one she was living with, had actually been dead for 2 years, and that she urgently needed to take her medication. But suddenly, Yuan showed up, hit Ming, and took our heroine away before they could force her into anything. He took her to his house in the forest. There, she finally relaxed, and Yuan opened up to her. He told her that he used to be a psychiatrist, and that one day Ramez came to him with his wife to treat her. She wanted to divorce Ramez, and he suspected that she was mentally ill. She told Yuan that Ramez was an abusive man who hurt her constantly and treated her badly. That was why she wanted to leave him, and that she wasn't crazy. She begged Yuan to help her. But Yuan thought she was lying just to get a divorce because Ramez seemed like a good man. So he didn't help her. Because of that, the woman decided to fly. She went up to the rooftop and disappeared into the night. Ramez witnessed it all and blamed Yuan for her death. Overwhelmed with guilt and pressure, Yuan quit his job and resigned. Our heroine tried to comfort him after all the pain he had endured, and she admitted that her life hadn't been great either, that she also needed someone to ease her pain. They both comforted each other. One night, while she was sleeping, she woke up terrified from a nightmare. She had dreamt that Shai, her dead friend, was lying next to her. Yuan came to calm her down until she felt better, and then she went back to sleep. When she woke up again, she found that he had made breakfast for both of them. She told him that she wanted to go visit the place where her friend used to work and ask about her. When she went there, they told her that her friend had worked there, but that she had died 2 years ago. At that moment, she decided she needed to remember everything, to recall her lost memories, maybe find something that would bring her peace and explain why she was seeing these hallucinations and these seemingly real people. She asked Yuan to help her since he was a psychiatrist. He hypnotized her, and during the hypnosis, she remembered fragments of the past, how before the accident she had asked Ming for a divorce, but he refused. She insisted, but then the accident happened. Ming seemed happy about it because he knew she wouldn't remember wanting to leave him. That's why he had asked the doctor not to let her recover her memories, so she wouldn't leave him again. After a while, the truth came out in the press because of a journalist who loved Lu Ming, and his whole world fell apart. But for our heroine, none of that mattered anymore. During this time, she and Yuan grew much closer, and their relationship deepened. Lu Ming, meanwhile, was in shock, completely broken by what was happening. Later, Yuan apologized to her, saying he had to leave because the child was sick and he needed to check on him. As soon as he left, Lu Ming broke into her house without warning and attacked her. She ran immediately to Yuan for help, and when he saw her, he rushed to fight Lu Ming. The two men beat each other violently until Yuan nearly killed Lu Ming. Our heroine tried to stop him, but Lu Ming wasn't thinking clearly. He attacked wildly, and she fell, hitting her head and losing consciousness. When she woke up, she found herself in a strange place. She asked what had happened, and Yuan told her that when he saw her fall, he pretended to faint too. Then, the idiot, Lu Ming, brought both of them to this place. Yuan said he attacked Lu Ming, tied him up, and put him inside a machine. It turned out this was the same machine that her sister and the doctor's wife had died in. Yuan explained that when someone dies inside this machine, their memories are erased from everyone's minds as if they never existed at all. Even their body leaves no trace. At that moment, our heroine, Chen, was completely confused. She couldn't understand how this was possible or how Yuan knew all of these details about the machine. He began convincing her to kill Lu Ming, telling her that Lu Ming was responsible for the deaths of all the people she had seen, that he had made them disappear. He pressured her to take revenge on Lu Ming the same way he had killed the doctor's wife and her sister. But then she started to grow suspicious. She had never told Yuan anything about Ji, her sister, especially since she knew Ji hadn't died in the machine. What she didn't know was that Yuan had gone through many stages. We learned that he was actually the one who created the machine, and that he was the one who killed all those people. We also learned that he had been in a relationship with our heroine's sister, and that he killed her in the machine. Then he went to work at the care home, where he met Chen and fell in love with her after seeing her visiting the children there. He confessed his love to her, but she told him she was married and loved her husband, asking him to stay away. Later, when he found out that she had been in an accident and lost a large part of her memory, he decided to take advantage of that. He planned to make her fall in love with him and to make her doubt everyone around her. First, he started by manipulating her mind. He killed Jia, her friend, when she was walking on the street. He was the one wearing the yellow jacket. Then he put Jia inside the machine so she would disappear. He also planted the yellow jacket in Chen's house, then removed it when Lu Ming came to make Lu Ming believe Chen was insane. He was also the one who killed the doctor's beautiful wife, and he kidnapped the child who appeared in Chen's house. When Lu Ming found out, he took the child and hid him so that no one else could find out. Yuan had even trained the child to draw pictures that connected to Chen so that she would think he was part of her hallucinations. Even the house in the forest. He gave Lu Ming that address on purpose, knowing he would go there and fight him, just like what happened now. When Chen fell and hit her head, Lu Ming ran to her out of fear, but Yuan, this deceitful, chameleon-like monster, hit Lu Ming on the head, tied him up, and put him inside the machine. We return to the present, where our heroine hit Yuan on the head, sensing that something was wrong with him. But nothing happened to him. He got up and started strangling her violently. In that moment, her memories came flooding back. She remembered that the man she had loved in college was Yuan. She also remembered that even her friend Shisha, who had died, and Ramez with his lover, had all been connected since their university days. Ramez had loved his girlfriend deeply and had pursued her relentlessly until she finally agreed. Then she remembered when they graduated from university, and our heroine met a man at a bookstore named Wissam. They fell in love and got into a relationship. One day, while they were all sitting together, Yuan was there too since he knew them and was also a friend of Ramez. He told them that he was a famous writer. At that moment, our heroine told him that she also wanted to become a famous writer and that her first book would be published soon. While they were all sitting together, we see Ramez talking to Chiao, telling her she had grown old and aged and that everyone was in a relationship except her. She got angry at his words and said it was better to stay single than to be with someone who constantly raised his hand and beat her, because Ramez used to do that to his girlfriend, and they all knew it. Everyone got upset with him, so Yuan took Ramez aside and walked away with him to calm things down. After that, our heroine's memories went back again to another time, her first day at university. It turned out that Yuan had also been her classmate there, but we also see the doctor she had visited earlier. It was her university professor. He became annoyed when he saw her standing with Yuan because he liked her and was jealous. He asked her to come to his office. When she went, he told her that he was proud of her and that he liked the novel she had written. Then, in the middle of their conversation, the doctor confessed that he loved her. Our heroine was shocked by what she heard. She didn't give any reaction. She apologized and told him that unfortunately, it wasn't possible between them. But he told her that he truly loved her and wanted to marry her, and that he didn't care if someone filed a complaint against him for this. What mattered to him was her happiness. Our heroine agreed to marry him, seeing him as a good man who genuinely loved her. Days passed until Chen and the doctor actually got married. She didn't love him or feel happy, but she thought he was suitable enough, and that was it. One day, they ran into Yuan by coincidence at the bookstore. Yuan was very angry with the doctor and told him that he wasn't a good man because he had deceived one of his students and married her. Our heroine got upset and furious at Yuan, slapped him, and told him that it was none of his business, that she was the one who agreed to the marriage. Then she was pushed again, this time into another layer of memories. This time, Chen was forced to marry a man her mother had chosen for her, who turned out to be her sister's husband from her previous life. He was a bad man, making Chen do strange things, like dancing in front of his friends as a form of punishment. One day, while she was sitting and talking with her mother about her sister, she suddenly had flashes of her previous life, the one she had lived before. The memories overwhelmed her. Her head throbbed from all the confusion. She felt like she was losing her mind. So many strange memories tangled together. After all that, it turned out that everything, the entire story, was actually a novel written by Chen herself. In real life, she was married to Yuan. She wanted to divorce him because he never gave her any attention or time. He was always busy with work, to the point that one time, when she was pregnant, she slipped while coming out of the bathroom and got badly hurt. She tried calling Yuan to help her, but he was drunk because someone at work had forced him to drink with them to close a business deal. He didn't notice his phone. Unfortunately, she lost the baby. After that, she fell into deep depression, and their relationship completely broke down. That's when she asked for a divorce. Later, they had a car accident, and she remained in a coma for a long time. During all that time, Yuan spent all his money on her care and stayed by her side, even though he knew that if she ever woke up, she might leave him, because that's what she had wanted before. But it didn't matter to him. All he wanted was for her to wake up and be okay. Throughout her coma, he stayed next to her, looking at their pictures together, visiting all the places they used to go, and rereading her novel, the one in which their story continued. When he had tried to strangle her, inside the story, he stopped at the last moment and apologized, saying that everything he had done was because he loved her. She too confessed that she had loved him, and that if she hadn't, she would never have gotten close to him in the first place. They drew near to each other again. We learn that in their real lives, Yuan and the heroine had met at university. Her mother had opposed their relationship from the beginning. One day, Chen's mother spoke to Yuan, asking him to leave her daughter because he wasn't good enough for her and didn't come from a proper family. But he refused to leave her, insisting on staying with her despite her mother's disapproval. Her mother then began arranging secret meetings for Chen with other men, hoping she would fall in love with one of them and leave Yuan. but Chen refused. Eventually, she left her mother's house and secretly married Yuan. Her mother hated that. She kept nagging her to break up with him and even offered Yuan a large sum of money to leave her daughter, but he refused again. Yuan later realized that in her novel, the characters Yuan and Ming were actually two sides of the same person. One version that was loving and attentive, and the other that was distant and too focused on work. At that time, Yuan was sitting beside our heroine in the hospital, reading her novel aloud to her. After finishing, he went to her mother and asked her to visit her daughter, saying that it would make a difference for her. He told her that just because her daughter hadn't listened to her and had married someone else didn't mean she was a bad person. Her mother was deeply worried about her daughter, but pretended to be strong and refused to go. Yet, as soon as Yuan left, she broke down crying and finally went to see her daughter. As the days passed, our heroine's condition began to improve. The doctor told Yuan that she would soon wake up, and indeed, after a short while, she did. When she woke up, she saw that Yuan had already signed the divorce papers. But not only that, he had also written an ending for her novel. After she confronted him with the truth that she had never really loved him, he finally freed himself from all the pain, took Lu Meng's place, and entered the machine himself, so that he would share the same fate as those who had died before. He had to disappear from existence, from life itself. Time passed. She went back to live with her family, and their relationship improved. She stayed close to her friend Xu and her other friend, who had also recovered, left Ramez, and together they opened a hotel. They helped each other move on from the past. Yuan closed his company and traveled abroad to start a new life, and that's how the series ended, with a brilliant and unexpected twist. The story took us on a journey of sadness, joy, and mystery until it finally revealed the ultimate truth. It was a novel all along, a true masterpiece, a clever trick, but a beautiful one. This series played with us, yet we loved every second of it. Good evening, dear viewers.